And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast, was also as well Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, and Game Source. Of course, the guy behind LakersBall.com, Ox1947, of course, it's Joe Soro. Hopefully he'll join us today. Go ahead and check out what he's doing there at LakersBall.com. Plus, he owns a company called Simblades with the Y.com. Go ahead and check it out. If you want your lawn transformed into something much more magical than it is today, it is Simblades with the Y.com. Also, as well as Joe Soro joins us already, I want to go ahead and mention that Lakerholics.com, Laker Tom, who appeared on our show this weekend, I want to go ahead and check him out as the #1 Lakers blogger, and also as well, Jamie Sweet with his 5 Things articles. They're always there at Lakerholics.com. Our good friend John McCallion. John McCallion is having a ton of streams, which you got to go ahead and check out. So the conversation's always flowing right there at the John McCallion channel. Speaking of YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe today. I don't know, when we left, it was 9:38. When we came back, it's 9:34. So something happened while we were off the air. So basically, if you can help us out, we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. So go ahead and please do that today by subscribing, by hitting the little beady-eyed Joe next to the big Joe right there for you at Lakers Fast Break. So you get the latest notifications so when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Tell you what, great to have you here. Lakers weekend continues, and a guy who we just truly admire has done such a great job for us. He's back going ahead and talking about what's going on with his future and plans going forward, but he wanted to stop by and say hello to the community at Lakers Fast Break and share his thoughts on Summer League, the Lakers, and where they're going from here as far as the upcoming season. Good man indeed. You knew him from Upside Swings at UpsideSwings.com. It is Stone Hansen. Stone, great to have you here, my friend. Hoping this will not be the last time we meet again, because I know I will be devastated if that's the case, because you've provided us so much insight over the time that you've been with us, over the years I've been talking to you now, over the time I saw you at Thomas and Mack. I would be truly heartbroken if we're not able to speak basketball again.
Yeah, Gerald, it was great meeting you finally at Summer League. That was awesome. I know I came on. I think this is the first show I ever came on as a podcast, like 3 years ago as a guest. That was pretty cool.
I remember you used to count the appearances that you were on.
I lost count after like 3. For the foreseeable future, I probably will not be on here. Probably this season, maybe at some point throughout the season, I'll be able to come on, but I don't plan on focusing on basketball anymore, so I likely won't be, you won't be seeing my face on this too often, if at all, upcoming. But it was, an awesome season this year. Great to talk with you guys. I really enjoyed my time here, so appreciate all you guys, welcoming, being so kind, and just being able to talk Lakers, because it's what bonds all of us together. So it was a lot of fun.
You will always be welcome here. The red carpet will always be available to you. I'm getting misty-eyed already. I better stop it, Gerald. Stop it. Stop it. But speaking of what's going on with the Lakers, before I also send it over to the man that's drinking heavily right now. See, he's drinking in honor of you in Canada. And then Joe right there for you. He's got that solemn look as well. Before we go into it, your thoughts first off on Lakers at Summer League. I know you had some impressions. We talked about it briefly there. Your thoughts on how the Lakers performed at Summer League as far as some of the future of the Lakers going forward.
Yeah, I think most of the guys were pretty. I mean, a lot of the two-way guys are a bit older, so they're pretty much what I expected, just because you know what you're going to get from them. That's what they've been doing for years now. With Christie, he obviously took a big jump, which looked good. Maybe he's able to slot into the rotation this year because of that. I thought Hodge and Castleton both look like the valid two-way players that they are, and hopefully maybe one of them can make the jump onto the full-time roster at some point this season. I really wanted to see more Max Lewis. It was unfortunate he didn't play more than he did, but I thought he had some ups and downs. But I think there's a couple of games where he really looked impressive to me. Hood Shafino, I wasn't super impressed, but there was a couple of games where he looked decent and looked more comfortable, I think, as the summer league went on, which is what you want to see. And then Fudge, I'm really happy that they ended up waiving Cole Swider and bringing Fudge onto that third two-way. I think that was exactly the right move. It had been what I'd been advocating for since they brought Fudge onto the Exhibit 10, and really happy that that's the direction they decided to go. So overall, I thought summer league was a good experience for everyone that was there, and I think that a lot of guys pretty much just showed and validated, the faith that the Lakers seem to have in them.
Want to go ahead and turn it over right now to Good Man Indeed. He's the madman from Toronto. He got out of Toronto traffic to wish you well, my friend. It is the drinking man, Sean Grice. Sean, great to have you here, my friend. You specifically wanted to be here to share some thoughts with Stone Hansen.
Yeah, normally beer is for happy things. So this is kind of melancholy, Stone. I know you got to follow your own path, brother. All respect, but it's going to be so hard without your contributions on here because they're electric, at least as far as I'm concerned, man. Like I've said before with you, the passion just comes through the screen. It's obvious. You watch the game with a different eye than most folks, which I appreciate. So I try and pick that big brain of yours, man. It's gonna kind of be a bummed season without you, but like we know you're gonna be here in spirit. And look, like life has a way of working out. Like I thought I had to pull the ripcord on this thing like 6 weeks ago, and damned if I didn't want to come back. I did everything I could to scratch and claw. So, like, if you really want something to happen, man, it's gonna happen. You just gotta you got the attitude for it. Okay, you can bulldoze your way through anything. I believe.
We're all rooting for
Appreciate
you, my
it.
friend.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean.
So good luck, and you're always welcome back as far as I'm concerned, man.
Appreciate it.
And also here today to destroy the show as we know it. Good man indeed, and also deter you from ever doing anything again in life. He is the guy behind. I'm just kidding.
You almost made me spill my beer, man. Come on.
Well, you're giving that heartfelt speech, and I'm just fixated on what Joe is doing.
The morbidity in this freaking week has been just exhausting.
Simblades.
I don't think Stone is getting thrown 6 feet under here, unless I'm wrong.
No, but you heard what he said, Joe. Go ahead, my friend.
Maybe I'm not as sensitive as you guys, but Jesus Christ, sure. I mean, just let the guy go do what he needs to do. And we had this again, like we said, 6 weeks ago.
You were the one that's trying to bust his balls to keep him on here in the first place.
Yeah, I know, but just everything has its time. And
if you could have put him in a headlock, you would have put him in a headlock. No,
I'll put you in a headlock. I'd put you in a headlock. Not Stone.
And then I'd reverse it and give you a noogie.
All right, that would work. The I don't want to say the word tragedy because that's been used this week too much. The unfortunate situation is that we lose someone who knows what the hell they're talking about. I think if you're looking at it from the show standpoint, we've kind of built this show on the fact that most of the people out there that are famous and supposedly experts aren't, and that it has nothing to do with the fact that we like them or dislike them. I remember Peter Vesey was a guy that was very unlikable personality-wise, but at least he brought information that was relevant. It's not a Skip Bayless type crap where you're just trying trying to be that heel in wrestling. So that part sucks. But I believe as the show becomes popular down the road, I think we'll be back here laughing about this moment. That's kind of just how I feel about it. And maybe it's overconfidence. I don't know, but we're gonna be okay, and hopefully Stone can get himself in a situation where he's financially stable, or however you want to put it. You're moving to Tennessee, right, Stone?
Possibly, yeah. In the
Also,
future,
you might not be moving.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just want you to be okay and have a
just
life,
a heads up.
thriving life.
I had a lot of broke friends who moved to Tennessee, and they're still broke. So just a heads up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm trying not to be, so that's why I'm leaving basketball.
Yeah, and a lot of that, again, I'm harsh on my friends and my family because I can, and some of them will resent it because people don't want the truth. They don't want it. They say they do, but they don't. Very few. As a matter of fact, there's a couple people that don't. How does this work? There you go. That one over there. And my advice to you is, whatever you do, don't be in debt. If you manage to stay out of debt, you won. That's anytime somebody asks me what's the key is don't be in debt. Don't be in debt ever.
That is the goal. Yeah.
And if you're gonna be in debt, make sure that money's making money for you. Unfortunately, vice is what ends up killing people. In a lot of ways, this basketball thing that you're doing is somewhat of a vice because it's not bringing anything back. So that's why I don't feel bad. I feel bad that you're not going to be here with us, but I also want you to not have to struggle. And that's kind of how I look at it. It's a smart move on your part that you need to get to this now and handle it. And I'm sure you will.
Yeah, appreciate that. The show's going to be like fine without me. You don't need me to succeed with the show, and I think the show's going to be. It's going to continue to grow just organically. You've built something here that I think is going to keep rolling no matter what sort of speed bumps are along the way. So I don't think me leaving does anything to deter that sort of role that you have going, and I think that the show is going to be just as good as it was last year. So it's going to be. I'll still listen. Like I have the podcast on my phone. I listened to the past 3 episodes. I'll still listen, and I think everyone else will too.
The question is, does any show out there, because I don't listen to Kaminsky's and Laker Nation, does anyone ever have like an expert on their show that actually is an expert, someone who actually watches 13 hours of basketball per day and is able to analyze it and explain it at the same time? That's the tough part. That's the tough part because we had that. And we need to get this thing going where it needs to go so we can come back with something here, because I just think it's a valuable part of the show and what will help it. But get your stuff handled, and then we'll take one step at a time here to figure out how we can get it back. Again, Sean decided to Michael Jordan 6 weeks ago and decided, you know what? He wrote that fax.
Retirement's not for him.
Yeah. He wrote
tried baseball.
Virtual fax. I'm back.
He tried baseball, hit 180.
And the best part,
pretty good.
I never told you guys the best part of that, and I know Gerald's going to hate me to say this, but Gerald,
I hate you anyways.
when Sean had his show, the Friday show, and he said he was gone, Gerald wasn't too happy. And I was dying laughing. I'm like, dude, why? What? He's going to be back. He's going to be back. Why are you upset? He shouldn't have done it on the thing. I'm like, who cares? It's funny. Just kind of like the Laker Tom.
I wasn't laughing in the middle of a church in Vancouver.
It was funny. It was funny because if you really, really are good at
Joe failed to mention the church part.
I didn't even know you were at church.
Outside.
I didn't know you were at church. I didn't know you were with the church in Vancouver.
I was at one of the
Who goes
oldest
to
churches
church
in
on
Buffalo.
vacation?
My
That's
family
also an
does.
excellent point.
All right. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen along with MagicMan Sean Grice and Joe Soro. Thanks so much for watching and listening. People are in our chat room are asking not to leave, but please, we respect Stone's wishes. And again, he's always welcome back here anytime he so chooses to be a part of what we've done. So grateful for all the things he's contributed to us here at the Lakers Fast Break. But before we get into his thoughts on the upcoming Lakers season, I want to ask his thoughts on the undrafted kids as far as Castleton and Demoy Hodge in regards to the possible, and actually, if he wants to add in Alex Fudge too, because I know he's pretty high on him as well. There's still 2 slots left to go as far as filling up the roster. Of course, the Lakers have to go ahead in order, if they want to keep 3 two-way players, they have to fill out the roster entirely with 15 players. Or, Stone, are they choosing to do something otherwise with those undrafted players?
Yeah, the way I sort of view the hierarchy of those three is I think that Castleton is probably the most likely candidate of those three to get some sort of offer to come onto the team full time and standardize his contract. I think that Fudge and Hodge are both solid two-way guys that at one point or another in their career might be able to make it to the full-time roster, even if it's not with the Lakers. Maybe it's with another team eventually. But I think of those three, Castleton seems to be the most likely to be standardized and converted as far as his two-way contract goes. I think I did get some clarification while I was at Summer League actually on how those 3 two-ways in that 15-man roster works. It's very complicated, but it has to do with the number of days that a team can roster 3 guys. So they actually can roster 3 two-way players and have 15 regular standardized contracts at the same time. But I think they can only do it for a certain number of days. So it's not throughout the full regular season. So there's a little bit more there's more to it than just you need 15 to have 3 2A guys. I haven't read the CBA, partially because I knew I was probably going to leave, so I didn't waste time reading 700 pages of something. But I do think that there's an opportunity for all those guys to be there, and maybe the Lakers sign 2 more regular season guys. And if you do that, one of them's probably on a minimum that you're able to get rid of and maybe waive for somebody like Castleton at some point in the season. So that's sort of how I view those 3 guys headed into this season.
Sean, any thoughts on Summer League you want to pass by with Stone before we get into his thoughts on the upcoming Lakers season?
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time we said, and Stone Hansen said the following about Alex Fudge and his the worst offensive player I've ever scouted. Those were your infamous words, man. If we had a nickel for that, I mean, we'd give it to you, and I think you'd be able to stay here. I don't know how many times we said that, but do you see like any way that Fudge ever gets a sniff at the NBA, Stone? Or because here's the thing with him, his defense is so well rounded that if he had just a little bit of an offensive like knack for anything, anything, even a simple jump hook, I think he could find a lot of minutes in the NBA, but it just seems that it's just a constant struggle with him, man. Like Vando is a very good NBA player, and even Vando is having trouble finishing at the rim. So with somebody like Fudge, what do you see his future as?
I mean, it's definitely a defensive specialist. Like he's offense has just never been there for him. Like that's just nothing. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but he can't really do anything offensively. Like it really is just cutting. That is all he brings on that end, and hopefully he can finish in some way or another. But he's not a passer. He's not a shooter by any means. He's not a finisher but what he brings defensively, I think, is more than just a solid team defender. He's an event creator, and I think that's something that's really special with him. Somebody that's able to get his hands on passing lanes, can be a weak side rim protector, is one of the very, very few guys that I think is an actual possible like 1 through 5 type defender. A lot of people overuse that term, and I think that it gets overblown a lot. But with Fudge, I do think he has that capability to be effective at really any position. But as you pointed to, the offense is just non-existent. So I don't know if it'll be with the Lakers. He probably won't get a standardized contract in that way. For a lot of guys, some of them bounce around a couple different times until they actually get that opportunity. Maybe Fudge does at one point or another, but I think it's probably more likely even Hodge gets that opportunity. I just think what Fudge brings, though, is a specialty type thing where you see guys like Matisse Thybulle succeed. Thybulle is really offensively limited, probably a lot further than Fudge, but yeah, it's just it's unlikely. But as a two-way guy, I really like taking a chance on somebody like that at the very least.
Joe, any thoughts on Summer League before we turn to the Lakers season?
Demoy Hodge has a shot in making the roster this year because he can shoot. And Castleton has a shot at making the team as well, especially for the future, because he's a big who actually has some good skills. So those are the two that I saw at Summer League that gave me a little bit of positive feel. Problem is Hodge is listed at 6'4". I just can't. My eyes aren't focused on. Is he kind of like Kyle Lowry?
You and I were there live, Stone.
Is he 6'4"?
It's splitting hairs, but I would say probably closer to 6'3". I mean, it's like I said, it is kind of splitting hairs, but he's definitely closer to 6'2", 6'3" than he is 6'3", 6'4" is how I would put it.
I don't know. He looks short. To me, he looks like a 6'1", 6 feet in a lot of ways. And getting the ball off versus NBA talent versus Summer League is different. But he was the only guy that was making shots, so maybe I'm just overstating it. I'm just not expecting anything from any rookie in Summer League. Other than, okay, there's an improvement. There might be a little bit of playing time during the year for a couple of them, and that's it. I'm not expecting anything. I think this team is thoroughly equipped to be a title contender, especially if we can get at least one more big in this, whoever that might be. And then at that point, we have to, say Hail Marys every week on injury issues. But that's it. I just don't see what I think. I hate to harp on this. I think we made a mistake as of today. I think we made a huge mistake not drafting Cam Whitmore, and I just don't think you get that kind of talent. That I have never seen anyone drop like that since Paul Pierce in 1997. Paul Pierce,
unless it's a health reason.
I didn't. If it was a health reason, I don't know where it went. He looked like a guy that had no health issues. Usually,
from what I know, you can say a lot more personality, and he had a lot of blunders throughout his workouts. How much you should factor that is kind of up for debate, but I think that he definitely it's a lot more to do with him as a person than it is with him as a player as to why he fell or any sort of injury.
Hey, Sky, I've already been on a exotic island this week, so I don't think a second one.
Joe Exotic.
I did my thing. Oh, God, you guys are really skewing some of my stuff here. By the way, that show, I remember when it was at its peak popularity. I was watching it until they got to a scene where there was just whatever.
Carol Baskin, FedEx husband.
I'm like,
Tigers.
dude, I just turned it off after that. I was like, this is freaking disgusting. So, anyways,
how was that Cheesecake Factory?
Is that limo still waiting for him outside of the pen? By the way, because he had it all ready to go.
That is just more disgusting shows that became popular. But the Lakers, I think we've talked about every scenario here on how this season is going to kind of play out. And when you don't hear much noise, that's usually a pretty good thing, especially with the Lakers. And you're not hearing too much about what's going on with AD, other than the fact that he's been boxing more. LeBron's been quiet on his surgery type stuff. If he had had a surgery, we haven't heard anything there. I don't know if it was something that could heal up. At his age, I doubt it. That he might have needed something to do. He might have needed something surgically to get that thing figured out, or some substances that are not discussed. And then Rui today was actually a new, I'd say the newest information that I had read recently, which was he's lifting weights and looking pretty shredded. So good for him. He's obviously taking this seriously. And if he plays anything like he played in the playoffs, this is going to be a huge win for the Lakers. And then as far as finishing up the Cam Whitmore thing, it would not have mattered if he had busted. The talent was worth picking at that at 17. It doesn't matter if he had busted.
Do you guys want to hear something that's really going to make you mad? That I won't say who told me, but from a very reliable source on what the Lakers were offered on draft night. The Nets offered the Lakers picks 21 and 22 to move up to 17, and the Lakers asked for more from the Nets, and the Nets said, "Never mind, we're going to pull our offer off the table." The Lakers got too greedy and tried getting more when they could have got 21 and 22 for pick 17.
Didn't I say that? Didn't I say that that could have
No,
happened?
I never heard you say that.
Oh, hush, you did.
But I was floored that the
You told
Lakers
me.
didn't
Not
just
even
take that.
a little bit of a memory. I don't remember anything
You
of that
seem
nature.
to-
Not even anything close.
Joe, I think you've you've
anything.
headbutted your sim blades a little bit too much, because it's right there all on YouTube, my friend. Deal with it.
Yeah,
Right
I was very not unpleased with hearing that.
Yeah,
but it is what it is.
Okay, well, what would he have done with the 21 and 22?
I think there are a lot of players.
Probably got the same player.
I mean, I think there's a very. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to reveal who said this, because I don't think they were supposed to really say. But I think that the Lakers, the teams behind them, had other priorities.
See, this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what we're gonna miss. This is
They
the
had
second time you've done this.
They
This
had
is
other
the second time you've done
priorities.
this, and the way you opened the damn discussion, I'm like, right away you get this feeling like, what do you say? What? And then boom, now we got a discussion. Damn it.
Yeah. Maybe you can turn this into another episode in the future, but yeah, I think that was just a massive misblunder and miscalculation by the Lakers to get too greedy and not take that offer when it opened itself up. But
what? We'll never. I believe you, and I believe whoever said that 100%. Just we'll never know the truth, because those two guys are buddies, and they will never talk about it.
Yeah.
Do you think the Nets wanted Cam Whitmore? That's why they wanted to trade up?
I don't know who the Nets were targeting. I didn't get clarity on that, so I can't really tell you for sure. There are a couple teams that I wanted to move up, but I do know once he fell to the Rockets, a couple teams tried to get him from the Rockets, and the Rockets had no interest in moving him. So I would imagine it was Cam, but I can't really say for sure. That's just guessing on my part.
Maybe Jamie Jr. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think he would.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase things without giving too much away, and I'm not trying to do it to be mysterious.
Just say what you heard. You don't need to. I mean, as long as the source isn't said, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be too mysterious, but I think the Heat, Jaime wasn't their first. He wasn't their first option before something else happened. So Jaime ended up being, I think, a plan B for them more than a plan A.
The one thing I do want to ask you though is now you know pretty much how everything's laid out with the Lakers roster, at least as of now, outside of one additional big that Rob is targeting supposedly, which could may or may not be Christian Wood. We'll have to see how that lays out. Your thoughts though on this team now that you see what they've drafted, now that you see what they brought to summer league, now that you see what they signed in free agency, now that you've and I've been and the rest of the gang here have been through a playoffs where the Lakers got to the conference finals. What are your thoughts now on this Lakers team going forward for this upcoming season?
I really like this team. I like it a lot more than I liked him headed into last opening night. I'll say that much. Like I at this last year, I didn't think we were contenders. This year, I do firmly believe that we can contend for the title. And I think that we did a lot to really bolster this roster. I think that we've pretty much nailed everything we needed to, apart from, or at least in my opinion, the 17th pick. But outside of that, I think we nailed everything this offseason. I mean, everyone that they signed was not a plan A for me, but they were all like solid plan B options to me. And I think that that's what they really hit on. Gabe Vincent with that salary slot, Prince, Hayes, those guys might not have been my plan A, but I think that all of those were really solid plan B pivot points. And I think that they did really well with that. And I think retaining the value that they had, like making sure you got D'Lo, Rui and Reeves on that steal of a contract. I thought that was just unbelievable. And makes up for the little bit of overpayment that I viewed Rui as, not by much, but a little bit. And I think that now you have a lot of contracts to work with. And I think that's the most important thing, because who you have on opening night is generally not who a championship team finishes with. That's not the same roster they finish with in most cases. So having that sort of leverage to move around pieces that you deem as not necessary or just not a great fit for your team halfway through the season, I think is a really big benefit for the Lakers, and being able to have salaries you can pair with D'Lo and Vincent or Rui. Like, none of these guys to me are really untouchable, and I think that that makes for a really interesting way to bolster your roster in a way that we haven't had over the past couple of years.
And minus the subtraction, addition by subtraction with Beverly and Westbrook not being on the roster, that helps too. So you see them competing at the top of the Western Conference, do you not?
I do. Yeah, I think that they'll be up there. There'll be a couple other teams, and they don't stand alone in that tier. But I think that they've, to me, constructed a roster that can contend with the best of the other teams in the Western Conference.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Stone Hansen along with Joe Soro and the Magic Man Sean Grice. We're talking about the upcoming Lakers season with Stone Hansen, who is going to take some time off. We hope it's a time off that's best suited for him, that he prospers, and that he hopefully will join us once again down the road with the Lakers Fast Break. Sean, back to you, my friend. Any more thoughts? We'll hold it down for your Stone for as long as you need, my friend, but we're hoping you for a return. But Magic Man, you have obviously a lot of thoughts coming up here in the next few weeks in regards to what the Lakers may do over the course of the season. But anything for Stone on this upcoming season before he heads on out?
So Stone, who would you think is the better guard to put alongside Austin? Because look, we're going to win a championship because AD, LeBron, and Austin Reeves get us there. There are three best players. Who best fits beside him? Who would like? I would rather see Gabe Vincent play beside him, more so from a defensive perspective. But what are your feelings about that?
So at the beginning, you were sort of I think you might have been muted, but the question, just to clarify, was D'Lo or Gabe, and who
Right now,
would...
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think opening night, I probably lean towards D'Lo.
Right.
And there's two main factors with that. So one is that D'Lo has the bigger contract, and that does not matter in terms of who I start, but it matters in terms of he seems like the more movable guy at the trade deadline. And I think in the beginning of the year, um, trying to maybe maximize and showcase him a little bit to up that trade value and get it up from where it was after the playoffs might be handle. So that's one reason. The other reason is I think that D'Lo is still like a really solid. Like I think obviously he had a bad playoffs, but I think he is still like he's off and on. Obviously, uh, it is sort of a coin flip talent wise. I think you can make a strong argument for either one, and I think. I mean, judging by last year with all the different starting lineups we had, we'll see both of them start at some point or another throughout the season, and maybe we can go from there. But opening night, I probably slightly lean toward D'Lo, but you can go either way, I think, like, without losing too much out on what they provide on the court.
Joe, I mean, as we head into this next season, I mean, there's a lot of expectations on the Lakers right now listed with some outlets in the gambling world in regards to 46 to 48 wins, some a little bit lower than that, which is kind of surprising. But I'm assuming that means that they're not counting on LeBron and AD to not be very healthy. You want to talk to Stone about your thoughts on the upcoming season, and maybe he can go ahead and give you an imprint on that as well?
I'm pretty comfortable in figuring out what's going to happen this season. Health is going to play a major role. The team's construction is perfect for what they're trying to do, other than getting maybe one more big. And it's just going to come down to can Darvin Ham devise a plan here to go deep into that roster and keep people fresh at the same time, making sure they all buy into the team concept. Because I think what they need to do, especially early in the season, if Cam Reddish starts to become a you-know-what, or let's say they sign a Christian Wood and he becomes a you-know-what, you bounce those mofos out quick. Don't let them infect the locker room. And that's key. That's key. It needs to happen. It'll be easier with LeBron and AD playing, obviously, but still, we need to make sure this team is mentally focused on winning a championship, because this is the only year that I feel like the LeBron AD team is going to have a chance at that. I don't think we're going to have a chance in 2025. I know that's a little bit negative looking, but I just think this is the last season for one more run with this era of duo. And we're going to need everyone to pull their weight. Rob Pelinka pulled his weight. Now it's time for Darvin Ham to bring whatever he took to the playoffs and make it into a full season. And let's get after it.
So on top of that, Stone, do you think, filling out that one last big on the roster, Christian Wood's name has been thrown out there. We talked to Tom earlier today in regards to that. And he has his ideals on getting Christian Wood any which way possible, including accepting a sign and trade, which was the cause of a big argument on Lakerholics. We are not, we would love to have him on the minimum, but we're not going to go ahead and give up Jared Vanderbilt for that. Your thoughts, though, on Christian Wood as a possibility, or if not, if you don't like him, because there's quite a few people not in love or infatuated with Christian Wood on the team, where you would go from there?
I would love Christian Wood on a minimum contract. Paying the price of Vanderbilt to me is a bit too, I think it's just a better player straight up. But I think Wood is a really excellent at the minimum. It gives you somebody that can be big if you need it, if you need a different look rather than just the traditional rim runner that Hayes or maybe Castleton might be. And I wanted to bring that up just really quickly, tangentially, that I think there's a chance, there's a world where Castleton just outperforms Hayes and becomes, usurps him on the totem of backup bigs. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility this season. Maybe Hayes sticks it out the whole season, and either way, you have a productive rim runner. But I think that's a possibility too. I would love. I don't think I would start Vando, despite me really, really liking what he brings to a team. I just think I'm gonna really struggle having three guys that are subpar or non-shoot in the starting lineup. I don't think you can run back with Vando all in the same starting lineup. So I would go three or Christian Wood if we sign him. You can, really pick and choose depending on matchups or who's hot that night. But having that flexibility with what Wood give is interesting. Yes, he's had off-court issues. He for a minimum, go for it. Like if he has those same off-court issues, you waive him. Like it's not that big a deal. He has a lot of great offensive potential. Not even potential, because I think he is what he is at this age, but he's shown a lot of great offensive prowess over the course of his career. He's probably one of the worst of the entire league, but when you're next to AD, that helps quite a bit. And I think that having a big that can really space the floor is just another look that we use. So I'm really him taking a minimum contract shot on him if we can.
Sean, we're heading down before the final few moments right here with Stone Hansen. I know, again, he's been a great part of what we're talking about here for the past few months. He obviously is saying very good things about the Lakers and the Lakers season going forward. But my friend, did you have anything to interject on what's going on for Stone and basically what he thinks of the Lakers season coming up?
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing what he thought about Castleton. I'm hoping that that'd be great if that happens, Stone. That would mean that he surpasses everybody's expectations, right? Our expectations, the organization, maybe not his own, obviously, because he's a very confident person. But I'm hoping that he does earn an NBA contract and becomes a part of the team, because I think the scouting department won out again, Stone. I think they found a really good developmental player in Demoy Hodge, and then obviously now Castleton decided to ask teams not to draft him, because it sounds like he was going to get his name called at some point if he so chose. But it just goes to the scouting staff again, man. And we've been, as Laker fans, I think oftentimes what happens is that because we're such a bougie organization, that somehow when we're consistently doing something well, there's always a caveat or there's always a but. In your opinion, this scouting department has been like, it's got to be in the top 5 of the past like 5 to 7 years, when you say.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I think that we do a good job of bringing in talent. And over that course, that 5 to 7 years, like the Hood Shafino pick might be my least favorite. And to be that, solid on all your other picks, I think does a lot. I think that we do a great job of bringing in talent. Developing talent, I think we do a pretty solid job. I think oftentimes we just give up on our young talent too quickly. But I think for sure that the Lakers scouting department knows what they're doing and does a great job. So I would say that, as long as we have who we have, I think they're going to continue to just bring in that talent funnel over the course of seasons.
What are your thoughts before I send it over to Joe on Jackson Hayes? I know that I think you mentioned it before. And as Joe has mentioned, we now have the 8th, 9th, and 10th picks of the 2019 NBA draft. Do you think Jackson Hayes can actually give us anything? Because, if you talk to someone from New Orleans, they're really not high on him after his tenure there.
Yeah, and I think this is his make or break season. Like I think that most people around the league know it. I think Jackson probably knows it. Like this is what is going to whether he gets determined whether he gets another contract or not after this year. And I think that if he plays his role, plays 12 minutes off the bench and gives you that rim runner, that he's a valuable player. I think that he's got a lot of off court issues that now that I know the full extent of, I probably wouldn't have signed him. But I think strictly just given what he brings on the court, I think he brings something that the Lakers need. Yes, they have AD, but you do need some semblance of rim protection when AD sits. It doesn't mean that you have to have somebody that plays alongside AD at all times. It's another big. I think AD, even if he wants to be the power forward, I think it's going to you have to play Hayes at the backup 5 because you just don't have anybody else to be in that backup center unless Castleton starts hitting eventually. But yeah, having that backup rim protector, having a super athletic rim runner, that's something that I don't think the Lakers have really had. And that's weird to say because we've had a lot of backup centers. I think the last one to really be that was McGee or maybe, old Howard. And that was in 2020. But since then, we've gone through a fair amount of backup centers and none of them have really been that. We've had a lot of more, just stationary centers like Drummond or Damian Jones, both guys who I don't really think are talented enough to be in a rotation. But I think Hayes is probably the best bet at a backup center that we've had since that 2020 championship. So I like that signing, just as far as the on court stuff, and I think that he can maybe be that. And like I said, if not, you have another absolute swing on that with Castleton. One of those two guys you're hoping hits and becomes that, and you're happy even if only one does that. So getting two swings at that is really solid.
Joe, before we head on out and before we talk to Stone and with his final thoughts, you're asked average cost to put some turf on a home. Obviously depends on lot size. Just wondering. Problem child is asking. I'll unmute you right now. Go ahead.
$10 a square foot on the average. So let's say if it's 1,000 square feet, it's a relatively basic yard, nothing crazy like aggressive roots or issues with access. You're looking at around $10 a square foot for everything. So 1,000 square feet, 10 grand.
Okay. Absolutely. We've heard everything this weekend from hot yoga to $10 a square foot. There you go. Absolutely. Just all the different things that are said on this show. It's just amazing.
I did go off the Skinny-licious menu today at Cheesecake.
Okay.
So
Right.
we're still in that, hot yoga,
Cheesecake Factory.
watching your calories. I didn't have any cheesecake, which I rarely do there because their cheesecake is just too rich. And I usually don't eat dessert anyways because I'm usually full from the food. But you have to know what to eat these days because if you aren't careful, you'll be eating buckets of butter because that's how they make food taste so good everywhere.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break.
Why is that funny?
Why is that funny?
Yeah.
Why is that funny?
Thank you, Jamal, for the kind words. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is Joe Soro.
So
MagicMan.
How long is it going to
Stone
be
Hansen.
before there's actually a restaurant where instead of buying ice cream, it's just a stick of butter on one of the how long is that going to be?
What about a meat in a cone?
Meat in a cone?
I think somebody's probably already done that.
Yeah, I think that's already been done. I do remember seeing
that one went above your guys' heads. Never mind.
Okay.
All right.
Don't okay me. Just go with the next subject.
Texas, they fry everything. So, yeah. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is Joe Soro along with Sean Grice and, of course, Stone Hansen. Stone, it's been awesome having you here. I really appreciate and indebted to you for everything that you've done for us here at the Lakers fast break. So with that said, and Joe's quotes in regards to lawn care and Cheesecake Factory, outstanding. Yes, Sean. Go ahead.
No, I was responding to the gentleman above you there. I got
Okay.
it. I got what he
Okay.
meant.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm trying to focus on the fact that this is going to be the last, appearance for Stone
Well, that's
Hansen.
because you're always into the dread of things. Maybe if you just enjoyed the show, you wouldn't be worried about the end for everything.
I'm
This is
worried
the
every single
end.
second that you're going to destroy the
Beautiful
show by your
friend.
segment.
There's no such thing as destroying the show. It's called entertainment, and entertainment
Weird
means
seams inside the gold mine.
yeah.
Oh my
See,
gosh. All right. With that said, Stone, we are really going to miss your sanity here as far as it's concerned. But my friend, it's been great having you here as part of what we've done for the past year. I mean, you've been out with us for a few months, but obviously you've been on this show on a whenever you can basis for years now. My friend, we are indebted to you for everything that you've done. But any last thoughts, my friend? The floor is yours. It's all yours before we head on out.
I'm really grateful that a few years ago you brought me on and invited me back on, and I was able to eventually be here full time. I'm grateful to all you guys, the other panelists that have shuffled in and out, being all kind and welcoming to me. I've really enjoyed being able to talk Lakers. The majority of what I do was draft related, so being able to talk about my favorite NBA team was always a lot of fun. I enjoy all the people that are always commenting. It was a lot of fun interacting with everybody. I never really, for whatever reason, I don't have access to the comments on my side. I don't know why, but I've always enjoyed reading the comments, and
You should tell me. I could have given that to you. I think as
it's
a
no worries.
guest you can't, but if I made you a
Okay.
moderator, you could do it off of by opening up a tab in your extra
Gotcha.
tab in there. So
Gotcha. Yeah, no problem. I mean, most of the time, I'm just reading off the side anyways when you guys are talking. But interacting with everybody's been awesome. I really enjoy finding some Lakers community that generally they seem to be very unrealistic sometimes, and I think that this what you have here and the community that you guys have built are very open to what everybody has to say, and is very the cool part about basketball is how it brings everyone together in different areas, and specifically now through the Lakers, that being the vessel of what brings everybody that's here now and is going to listen, is really cool to me. So this isn't 100% slamming the door on ever coming back. Maybe at some point I'll be at a different point in my life where I'm able to be here more regularly. Maybe at some point throughout this season I'll find myself where I'm like, I have a really strong itch to come back for, even if it's just a show or two here and there. And maybe that works out. But for the time being, I'll be stepping away from basketball in sort of every realm, and I think that's probably best for me.
absolutely, man. We always, first and foremost, and I know our Lakers fast break community, no matter how much they want to keep you on the playback streams or start up a petition to keep you here or GoFundMe has been mentioned in the chat room already. We always want what's best for you, my friend. Absolutely. That's first and foremost indeed. So Sean, Joe, any last words for Stone before we head on out, my friends?
Stone, I come from like Scottish and Gaelic background, and like my dad would always say, there's no word for goodbye in Gaelic. Like we don't say goodbye. So may the wind be at your back, the sun shining in your face, and I know you'll be back one day. I got the belief. But for whatever reason, you'll do fine, brother. You'll do fine.
Joe outside saying, "Get the hell out of here." Is there anything you want to say to Stone before we head on out, my friend?
good luck.
That was so deep.
Yes, I can't handle this sappiness. It's driving me nuts.
And he's
That's
also
what-
like
It's yeah.
he's
I mean,
also like one of those robots from like Tron. Like, yeah, just get out there and fight to the death. What do I care?
yeah.
He-
The reality is that I'm just leaving a basketball. Like I'll still have contact with you guys, and like I said, eventually one day maybe I'll pop back in. I'm not dying, so
This reminds me of Doris Burke doing commentating lately, which is everything is some sob story, and I can't do it. I can't do it. Stone isn't dying. He's not really going anywhere. He's just gonna go do another job. So I have full confidence that he will chime in every now and then. He's not going anywhere. There you go. That's how I feel about it.
Tell you what, my friend, it's been great having you a part of what we do. Again, you need anything from us, just name it. It's done. And of course, you know that the red carpet is always open for us to get extra mushy to make Joe even more sick. I truly appreciate, again, everything that you've done for us and are wishing you the best from all of us here at the Lakers Fast Break and our entire Lakers Fast Break community.
appreciate it. Thank you guys.
All right. And on that note, we will be back on Monday talking about Anthony Davis's extension. Oh, well, one last thing, Stone. Anthony Davis extension, 31 years old, the wrong side of 30, a lot of injury history. You know that as of in a couple days, he's going to be eligible for a contract extension. If you were Rob Pelinka, would you do it?
That's tough. That it's really tough. Here, my issue. I don't want to spend too, but my issue is those last, probably 2 years are going to be negative. You're going to get negative production for what you're paying him, and you don't want to be in a position where you are sinking your roster long term. But you do. I mean, you want AD to be as focused in and as happy as possible. Throughout this season for this final possible run. So it's really tough. I lean towards giving it to him because you want to make sure everything's in place to make that final run happen. If this really is it, but you might have to just bite the bullet and know that it's not going to be pretty for the entirety of that contract. Which is tough. I'm not going to be unplayable by the time he's 35, but he's not what he is now. So playing that money it's a lot of money, but I think you have to pull the trigger and bite the bullet, knowing that you want to get everything set in place for as successful a season as you can have this year.
And we'll cover all those possibilities starting on Monday. Although these guys and gals out there in our chat, they want us to come back on Sunday. I know I want to start the Anthony Davis talk Monday. So if Sean and Joe, if you guys want to come on Sunday and let's talk Lakers, let me know. I mean, got to figure out what we talk about if that's the case. So that's up to you. Because again, I was preparing Monday.
When your audience asks to listen to you, you oblige.
All right.
No more. No. I know, Gerald. I know you think you're the most important thing since sliced bread.
No, I like the bread whole.
I don't know what that means, but you got to make the audience happy. It's something that a lot of entertainers the last few decades have lost.
Joe, I went on at 5 p.m. yesterday to make our audience happy. Josh has been asking us for weeks, and I took care of that.
You should know by now I like to do this so that I can hear the glass cracking sound of a response.
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
See how good that is? That'll be a trademark down the road.
You're right, Joe. Gerald has such a huge ego.
You have no idea, guys. You guys think, Gerald's nice in front of the camera. Boy, man, when you get
humble am I.
Oh my God. Things flying all over the place. Doing this kind of stuff, and you're like, hey, G, relax, geez, it's not that big of a deal. Come on, man. Let's have some sympathy for certain things.
That's only when Magic goes ahead and decides he's going to leave us right in the middle of my vacation.
right. So I mean, hats off to you, brother. Hats off to you.
man.
That was really good. I don't think Joe's family would allow him to do something like that at this point in time. But in the future, down the road, maybe
I'm not
in
the one that
10
was called a
years, maybe
narcissist,
in
by
like
the way.
10
That's the
years,
guy up there.
maybe in
Let me
10
make-
years when his
Let
children
me
are
make this
adults.
clear. Let me make this very clear. It's very important.
You're
that
the
this
narcissist.
This is
according
very
to our
important to understand. I don't have your traditional family dynamic. And when I say
That's for
traditional
sure.
in this day and age, which is I got to go check in with something, I am the king. I decide what,
Aren't
when,
you
and
going to
why.
miss this, Stone?
So you
He's
just
Joe,
you
the
mentioned the
king.
narcissist part, so I'm trying to play the part. I decide how things get run.
That hiatus thing isn't looking so bad right now.
And things are good at home. And you can interpret that however you want. I have friends that think I'm a caveman. I just knock people in the head and bring them in. It's a great.
I'm one of those people.
The misdirection is great. It's great for discussion purposes. It's great for entertainment. We're here to entertain.
Fred Flintstone was the most popular person in Bedrock, Gerald.
Yabba dabba do.
You see, so Jordan is someone who knows me and he understands the dynamic. And that's what I keep telling you guys. As good as my life looks here on the podcast, it's actually better. And we're in a position here that we need to make sure that the audience is happy. A lot of the reasons why Stone leaving sucks is because the audience is going to lose out on that expertise.
Should we all just double up on ham bashing while Stone is away?
Yeah, in my remembrance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't view myself as extremely smart. I think I know a lot about basketball because I watched a lot of basketball. And I think that anybody can do that if they're willing to put in the time and effort and listen and watch a lot of stuff. When I first started draft stuff, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. Actually, I forgot to say this, but for anyone watching right now or listening, I did put my final article as to how basketball is intertwined with my life, and in it I mention I've learned so much throughout my whole life of basketball, being around it in every sort of capacity, that I think anybody can really be as I don't want to put myself on any sort of pedestal, but anybody can really know a lot about basketball without being extremely smart. You just have to listen to the right people, find the right people to help you. I was lucky enough for a lot of people to sort of take me under their wing and teach me a lot. And I think that if anyone's willing to put in that sort of effort and time into learning about the sport or really anything, they can. So I think that's where I'll leave off. I think a lot of people can be really, really smart at basketball without being really, really smart, because I definitely am not. So yeah, that's where I'll leave my final words.
Can you find that article at upsideswings.com?
On my Twitter, on upsideswings.com is where I posted it. And then on my Twitter at report_court. I won't be active really on there anymore, but on upsideswings.com too, you can read it. And it's basically, I wrote it more for myself because I just wanted to. I've always been a piece I wanted to write on just how much I love basketball and what it's meant to me. And I think that hopefully, if anyone else is sort of in a similar circumstance of basketball, that they're pursuing something in basketball and it just hasn't worked out for them, maybe this can be of some sort of use to them in some capacity. So that's the only reason I really decided to make it public.
There you go. Absolutely. And catch that at upsideswings.com. I'm going to be reading it. I know everybody out there that wants to get a little bit of inspiration on how basketball and your life can intertwine in a positive way. Check out Stone Hansen's article today at upsideswings.com. And Stone, I feel like we should drag this on for 10 hours just to force you to stay on the show, but unfortunately, you probably will have to go at some point in time. So again, we've just indebted to everything that you brought to us. And as Joe pulling out his fake crying, his fake tears, let me get you a fake tissue, by the way. Here you go. Fake tissue. Here you go. All right. But Stone, I cannot thank you enough, my friend. Sean, Joe, any last jibes or jokes or anything else you want to stick in there before
Yes,
Stone heads
last
on
words is enough of the last words.
out? Okay.
There won't be last words too, because I'll be listening to the future episodes too. So there won't be last words on your guys' end at all.
All right. So, in honor of Stone Hansen, it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening, along with MagicMan Sean Grice and Joe Soro of Simblades and LakersBall.com. We'll go ahead and check us out on Monday for sure. Sunday, if these guys want to find something to talk about, we'll set up something. I'll schedule it out. But in honor of Stone Hansen, kick him out! Get him out! Kick him out! It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. We'll see you next time right here on the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.